This is going to be a little bit of a more casual discussion. This video is going to focus on improving self-esteem and letting go of negative energy. So, if you're having any problems or questions or in any situations which might lead to something not very nice, I always would recommend speaking to a medical professional. I'm just going to be giving my advice, which you should take as something, if you can find something out of it, then that's good. But, I'm not a professional. I'm just giving you some of my ideas on this. So it's going to be pretty casual. I got a coffee, got a bit of chocolate, got a little device here, which we'll go into a bit later. And I guess we're just going to have a bit of a talk on self-esteem. So me, I'm a little bit older. So I grew up in a time when technology was very primitive. And technology now has radically changed where pictures, video, messaging, information can be shared so quickly. And I believe this is just one aspect to potential issues that might arise. Self-esteem is something that, on how you perceive yourself. I think the most important thing is not to make yourself to be like someone else in, for example, an image or popularity. As a couple of examples, so people might, it's quite normal that you have a celebrity or someone that you admire and you want to aspire to be like them. That's only natural. But there's a point where, you can't go too far. And, it's important that you don't conform to other people's ideas on what is perfect, what is good. You kind of have to be yourself. Find the person that you want to be. You don't have to act a certain way to attract attention, popularity, friends. I think it's very important for your self-esteem to find people that you connect with on a deeper level and associate with those people. People that are not calming, but more compatible. People that don't cause too many problems. I think that causing a lot of problems in life is, there's lots of, life itself it's almost like this cradle of just stuff that is sometimes out of your control. And being aware of that, I think, is important. That let me see, where am I trying to go with this? It's important to understand that in life today, I believe, or I suspect, or I speculate that there's lots of things going on that cause you to want to be a certain person, where you should only really be trying to be the person that you are. Kind of having difficulty trying to convey the message that I want to convey to you. I think going back to finding people that you can be friends with, people that you can be yourself. You don't have to act a certain way to look good. And it's only natural when you're young that you might do this type of thing. And, it's not a bad thing. But I think it's important that you understand why you're doing it and that you are doing it and that you are a different person and that you can come back to that different person, the person that you are. Because if you try and pretend to be someone else, it's going to lead to issues, lies. Not that I'm saying that you lie, but for example, you're pretending to be something better than you are. Well, not better than you are. All right, let's, for example, you're smoking a cigarette, which I thought would be long gone by now, to look cool. When I was a kid, that was quite a common thing. And, I smoked some cigarettes when I was young and I thought it was cool. So, it's a kind of, these type of things, it's a normal type of situation that when you're in a situation, you might act a certain way to look good, to try and be someone that you're not. So, this is who I am. The question is, who are you? Not what do you do. The question is who are you? And this is an important question that, to be honest, isn't asked at all anymore. Who are you as a person? What are the things that you like? And I think it's really important to come back down to earth, to realize that, not everyone's going to be a superstar. Not everybody's going to be a sports star. I think it's important to have fun, have friendships, go out and have good times. I think it's really important when you're young to spend time with your friends, go away, go out to nightclubs. It doesn't have to be super special. I think that, I think you would agree that some of the best situations that you may have spent time with would be spending time with people that you like and having conversations that were more meaningful, where today most conversations are very, how's the weather? What did you do yesterday? And then that starts a cycle of, I went on a holiday. And then, you want to try and they sound really good. And it's really nice to go on a holiday. It is. And then you say, and then you might, I'm not saying you did, I'm just saying this is a speculation, that you might make up a lie to say, I went on a holiday too, to try and fit a certain idea on what the conversation might require. Whereas a conversation which has more meaning has a more longer lasting effect. And everybody's different. So I'll give you an example. I had a friend, a good friend, and we were quite compatible. And I really enjoyed spending time with him when I was young. And his name was Matthew. I doubt if he'll ever see this. And there was one day, I remember, and I must have been in primary school, that we talked about stuff. I can't remember the stuff we talked about. But I remember it had meaning, it had purpose. And it was a conversation that I still remember to this day. Maybe almost 30 years ago. But it's something that I don't remember having that special connection with a friend and having such a meaningful and purposeful conversation. And that friend later on, we had fist fights too. But afterwards we made up and we were still friends. You know, it's just the way things go. But I always enjoyed spending time with him. And he's one of those childhood friends that I remember quite dearly. And, you know, that's where it comes back to your friends, trying to find people that you connect with. And in this day and age, I guess it's a little bit harder to find people that you connect with. Online communities can be very beneficial for people. And I think it's about trying to branch out to try and find people. Even me right now, I'm trying to branch out and to meet new people as well, that, you know, I can look for those like-minded conversations with people because they have purpose. You know, they fill you with emotions, and these are good things. So for your self-esteem, I guess the main message of what I'm trying to say is to try and find the people that you can connect with. And, you know, if you're a female or a male and you're connecting with someone with the opposite sex, you know, you really want to make a clear boundary on, you know, friendship and something more than friendship. And sometimes it's difficult because, you know, one person might be interested, but the other person enjoys the friendship more and isn't interested. So, you know, don't be afraid to talk to the person and just say, look, I find you to be a very valuable friend, and I enjoy the time and the conversations we spend with each other. And I'm wondering if you're interested with going any further with it. And, you know, if you say something like that, it takes a bit of confidence and self-esteem to do it. And I can tell you, when I was young, I was scared to say something like that. But it's important that to boost your self-esteem, it's really important to do it. It's really important to do it. Say these type of things to someone that you might be interested in, or in a friendship, you know, you say, look, you know, when you did this, you know, I didn't like it, or something like that. It's important to be honest. And I think in honesty that building friendships with a few people will help build your self-esteem. We'll come back to self-esteem, and now we're going to go to negative energies. Now, negative energies is a discussion that can range over multiple places. Sorry, I'm going to eat some chocolate first. This is the same chocolate I had the other day as well. It's really nice stuff. It's made with raw cashews, evaporated coconut nectar, virgin cacao butter, raw cacao beans, freeze-dried raspberry powder, and cinnamon. It's good. Negative energies. That in itself applies to something that's unseen. This is an EMF detector. This is something that can apply negative energy to you without you being aware of it. All right, so hang on. No. So right now, this is reading 3, 2, which is really low, and that's what you want. And when I go near it, it goes up a little bit. All right, Listen to this. That's quite low, actually. That's reading 200. Let's go up to here. That's reading 500. Let's go over to here. Go over to here. Ah. So this is a fluoro light. And that's probably the highest thing here. And what EMF is, it's basically electromagnetic field. And you're surrounded by it everywhere. There are multiple different frequencies that are surrounding you constantly. And so something I'd recommend is actually being aware of the EMF. To give an example of what EMF can do, long-term exposure to it would be very damaging to you. I don't know, I'd have to look at studies, I don't know any studies. But a short-term effect, to quote ghost hunters, is seeing ghosts. Basically, your mind starts playing tricks on you. It really has a significant effect, more so on some people, less on other people. So, this is kind of for health. And it's important that, especially when you sleep, you're in a environment which doesn't have much of this type of stuff around you. So to give you an example, clock radios, lights, power points, power cords. I strongly suggest you look at your sleeping environment and remove it all of it. Get rid of all of it. You want no power cables, no power points. You want no electrical stuff around you when you sleep. And this is to promote your better sleep. Mobile phones are something that I'd recommend that you turn off. If you need an alarm to wake you up, I would recommend that you put the mobile phone as far away from you as possible. The effects of mobile phone frequencies is debatable. But it can have an effect on you. So I can't comment on that. This is something that's verifiable, and scientific tests have been done that it shows that it does have effect with people negatively. So that's the first thing, is to look at your environment where you sleep, because sleeping is where you rest, you recuperate, you recover. And if you're having trouble sleeping, you're going to be in a real crappy mood. And that's one aspect of negative energy. The second biggest, or probably the largest aspect of negative energy, is being around people that are negative, being in situations that are negative, and again, being in situations that are negative in an aspect where it's hard for you to have control. So we'll talk about other people. There's so many different types of people out there. Again, it comes back to your friends and having people that you can associate with. Recently, there was a situation where I had certain negative energies being directed at me. And I think the best thing is to walk away from the situation, leave the situation, get out of the situation. It's really important. Some people, especially you, my subscribers, have messaged me and told me about certain situations which are negative in certain aspects that, I would want all people to try and I wish all people could be out of these type of situations. I wish the world wasn't so highly strung where, all it takes is a little flick of a string and all of this, negativity comes to you. So people give off negativity and it's like a breeding of it. For example, someone's had a bad day and they're going through a cash register, and you know, they'll direct some of that negativity to the cash register if the cash register takes a moment too long. And this is the type of negative energy that I want to talk about. There's many, many, many different aspects to this, okay? Many different aspects. But it's important to understand that, you know, even being in the same line as that person, it's possible it can affect you. It's possible it doesn't affect you. It's important to sort of put up like a barrier and just sort of try and have a thought of blocking it so it doesn't affect you that much. You know, that type of situation when you're in at a shopping centre, a supermarket, and you're lining up and someone's having a bad day and they're letting rip on someone. What's important is that, you know, if you're behind them, is once you get to that person, stop for a moment, tell them that everything's okay, relax, and to say something nice to that person. And you send a little bit of love to that person, and it's going to help that person. And, you know, it doesn't take much of talking to someone to make someone feel good, to smile to someone, say hello as you're walking by. There are only small little things that reverse some of that negativity that might be in the environment. And, you know, people get much angrier these days for very small little things which are really silly. And, you know, certain crime is associated with some of these behaviors that might be linked or triggered by these negative behaviors. So, you know, if you can, you need to move away from these negative behaviors. And, you know, unfortunately, if they follow you, you're going to have to do something to try and avoid it, put up a wall. You've just got to try and do the best you can. If you're young and you have negativity associated with your parents, you need to go back and think about things. I'm hoping that your parents are, let's say, average, normal people that they want to have a peaceful, calm environment as well. They don't want to have confrontations with you as a teenager, with parents and things like that. I can tell you now, one of the best things I did for my relationship with my dad was to be 100% honest. 100% honest. I'm pretty lucky with my dad that I can tell him anything at all, anything. I don't have that relationship with my mum. I just keep things from her, but I have that relationship with my dad because I 100% value his commitment and what he did to try and raise me. He did the best that he could, and I love him very much. I love my mum as well, of course, and that's that. But one of the best things I ever did was be 100% truthful with him, and things are much, much easier. So if you're having confrontation with your parents, you need to sit down and you really need to apologize to them, because you might think they're doing something bad. They might think that you're doing something bad. You need to remove the word, even I just said it then, you. The word you predates blame. you did this. Reverse, go back and say, I am sorry for the things that I did. And you instantly start something positive. When you go, you did this, you start something negative. Sorry, I said the word you. It's very hard to say you without saying you. But in this situation, when I talk to you, I'm trying to help. So being in a family, especially as you're becoming a teenager and you're developing hormones, these things make you act a little bit differently. And if you can reduce that negativity at home, you've made a monumental change to your life. Monumental change. I'm hoping that your mother or father's not abusive. I'm hoping they're not in those bad situations, because what happens is, it's hard to talk about this type of subject, but if your parents are unfortunately associating themselves with, let's just say, we'll go on the outer edge of this discussion and say bikies. Bikies are, let's just say, we'll talk about the bad bikies, the ones that get busted for armed robbery, drugs, assaults and stuff like that. So I'm not saying bikies are bad, because there's lots of people that drive bikes that are very, very good people in Australia and America and all around the world. But there are bikies that sell drugs, stuff like that. If you're at that further end of a situation where it's coming into your life on a daily basis, it's really hard to get out of that situation. And this is like a kind of speculation discussion on a kind of like a worst case scenario. So I can't talk from experience for someone being in that situation. So my advice should be taken with a grain of salt. But, when you're in that type of environment, it's going to be hard to find the things that you want to find. But if you can try and separate yourself from it, I have to really tread carefully when I talk about these subjects, because I'm worried how people might take it. And I saw something in the news today. They asked some kids in a school about their parents. And out of 27 kids, 13 kids had parents in jail. And out of the 27 kids, I think there were 17 kids with parents in jail, or 13. 5 of those were mothers in jail. And I kind of felt really sorry for the kids, and I really wonder how or who is looking out for them. I'm sure some of those situations, there'll be a parent there that's really, really good, but it's possible there's going to be some situations that aren't that good. And these are kind of me speculating on some of those worst case scenarios. And I guess if you're in that situation, I would recommend seeking professional counselling to give you advice. So my advice should not be taken with any real medical advice. But if I can talk about this and I can help you to take that step, because that's all it is. It's just me planting a seed, and you taking a step in a certain direction that hopefully will take you on a path that might remove you from a situation promoting negative energy. So this is a little bit of a touchy subject, so I'm kind of a little concerned on how people might take it. But I think it's important that you understand that it's important to listen to your instincts, listen to your heart, try and take those steps that lead you in the direction that's best for you. And if you're in a family situation, you should try and help your family, help your mother, help your father, help your brother. But you have to be careful to the point of getting into more situations that are not that good. So you just have to sort of be careful on where you tread in these situations, because things can get out of hand a little bit, and it's at that point where you really don't want to be there. So I've only encountered certain situations that are kind of like that. Not much with my family. I guess my family is more average, common, hormonal teenager stuff growing up. Going out and drinking alcohol before you're 18 years old, as an example, you know what I mean? Or when you're young, going to a party and your parents don't like it or something like that. I've only encountered these common type situations, but I have seen kids in other situations, and some kids do fine out of it, but some kids don't. And if I can help one person from this video, then it was all worth it. If I can help more than one person, it's just bonus benefit. So I guess it's just important about trying to take that step in the right direction, listen to yourself. Be aware of people around you promoting negativity and distance yourself from them. And if you have a self-esteem thing where you want to be near them to be seen as the cool kid, because there's lots of movies that promote this type of self-esteem issue, walk away from it. What's that TV show with Sheldon, the girl, and the other guys? They have friendship, and it looks like fun too. You don't have to be a cool kid. I was definitely not the cool kid. I'm sorry, just give me a minute. All right, so that there kind of wraps up the discussion. I'm sorry for my mouth sounds. All right, so when you're in a negative situation, and whenever you're in any situation, I've talked about this before. I'll talk about two things, these are two tools that you can use to help in these situations. One, I'll use an example that I've used in the past. You lose $100. it's gone. You had $100 cash and it's gone. You're young or you don't have much money. So this represents a large chunk of your plans for the next couple of days. Going to buy food, going out to buy a dress, going to a party, blah, 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 whatever it is that you plan to do with $100. It's gone. What was it beforehand? It was just a piece of plastic, but it represented value. And what happens is you kind of chase around trying to look for it. You know, if you lost it at home, you might get lucky, but if you lost it when you're out and about, it's too bad. And what happens is you think about losing $100, and then you think about, how am I going to get the $100 back? What do I have to do? Now I can't do this. And you start thinking in kind of like a spiral. And the more you think about it, the sort of worse you get. And you know how sometimes something happens and you continually think about it. You know, this can apply from something as simple as losing a couple of bucks to losing something far more valuable. Okay? And you continue to think about certain things. And the more you think about it, it's like, think of it like up and down. And you start here, you're feeling average. And the more you think about it, you keep rotating and thinking about it and thinking about it. And you're just going down and down and down. There's a point where you have to stop thinking about it. And when you stop thinking about it, your feelings start to come back up again. And eventually you'll feel normal. And for example, when you're having a discussion with a friend that you value, a discussion that's intelligent to you or you like, it could be something as simple as talking about a game that you like talking about. You know what I mean? It's whatever it is. And the other person's interested and you both think, listen, that feeling goes up and up and up and you feel good. And when you go home that night, you have a smile and you're happy and you had a good discussion, good time with a friend. You know, that's all it takes. And you go to sleep happy. But if you're thinking about negative things, why did I lose $100? Where did I lose $100? How am I going to get the $100? You start going down and down and down and down. Once you hit rock bottom, I believe, this is my speculative thought, that this is something that will lead people to, unfortunately, take their own lives. And that's why it's a really important tool to realize when you're in this negative spiral thought pattern to stop. Realize that you're in this negative spiral going down. Think of it like a corkscrew. And stop. And try and bring yourself back up to a higher level of sort of happiness or normalness, I will just say. So this here is an important tool, is to realize that you're in this negative thought pattern. And for example, if it's $100, you'll realize, and after you've gone down a couple of turns, and then you'll stop and think, it's only $100. I still got my hands, you know, I didn't lose an arm or a leg or whatever, or something that's more valuable. You know, sorry for saying something like that. Where was I? But in certain situations, when the loss is higher, I'm just trying to use examples. So $100 to some people is a lot, to other people it's not that much. But to be honest with you, it's not that much in relativity. But when someone loses something more valuable, let's say not a material thing, something else, you will go down the spiral much further. And you will stay lower on that spiral. So it's important, once you get down low, to realize that you're in the spiral pattern. And sometimes this is a normal thing. in certain situations. And it's important just to stop letting yourself go down too far or whatever the situation is, and just slowly creep yourself back up that spiral of trying to not think about that negative thought of, as an example, losing $100. And look for those situations again with friends, people that are like-minded, and talk to them. And don't be afraid to talk to them. Also, guys, men, we don't have, or for example, me, we don't have the ability to really discuss our feelings very much. Maybe that's just me and typical of Aussie guys. But discussing your feelings with someone can be beneficial to you. So females, ladies, girls, they will more talk about their situations and that might help them. Whereas guys will try and keep it bottled up inside and not talk about it. So again, it comes back to friends and people around you on helping you. So you don't need them to help you directly, but for them just to spend a little bit of time with you, talk about something else. Talk about a computer game, talk about motor racing, talk about something else, just to try and help take your mind off those negative thoughts to bring yourself back up. And the other tool that I wanted to talk about is something that a friend of mine put me onto, was a bus. The bus has many seats, and you are the bus. But there's only one steering wheel. But there's many different versions of you in that bus. And, there can be the happy person driving the bus. There can be the sad person driving the bus. There can be an angry person driving the bus. So it's important to realize, to understand who is driving your bus right now. So right now, listening to this, if you've made it this far, you are driving your bus and you're listening, and hopefully I'm giving you something that might help you in the future. But an example, I'll try and give a couple of examples. When I'm driving on the road and there's someone slow driving in front of me, you might get frustrated. In certain situations, you might get angry. And then, this is something that leads to the term road rage. And so what happens is all of a sudden you're driving, listening to music, and bang, someone pulls out in front of you, and the frustrated version of you just grabs you, rips you out of the driver's seat, jumps in, and does some rude gesture to the person that just pulled out in front of you. And then all of a sudden, the frustrated version of you is driving the bus. And the question is how are you going to get control back of the bus? So how are you going to get control of yourself? This is an important thing. So road rage is something that a lot of people have experienced, and it's something that, I have, I'm guilty of it, okay? But I've never gone to the point of physical type stuff. But I've been close to that situation, not me being physical against someone else, but having other people attempt to be physical with me. So luckily I haven't gotten too far, but it's been quite close for me that I've had to physically fight people in road rage incidents. Recently here in Australia, we had a real unfortunate situation where two gentlemen, one was say 30, one was say 50, and they got out, or someone blocked one person and the other person got out, and the other person got out, and they started having a physical fight. And one person got pushed out into the traffic. And, something so simple as the frustrated version of you has led to a situation of serious consequence and something that will affect that person's life forever. And so that's why it's important that if someone pulls out in front of you, you get frustrated, but you need to yank that frustrated person out, piss him off, and get back in control of that bus and keep going down your way. Some people are slower drivers. I'm guilty sometimes of driving slow, and then I forget and I'm like, I'm sorry I was driving slow. And recently I went to change lanes the other day, and I was lazy and didn't look over my shoulder. I just looked in the mirrors, and there was a motorbike in my blind spot. And luckily he honked the horn and he realised what was going on. And that's not a anger thing or a road rage or who's driving the bus. It's just what can happen in a situation. You've always got to be careful. And so the uncautious person was driving the bus at that time, and I didn't look, whereas I should have. So, you've just got to be a little bit more cautious. So when you're in that bus, there can be angry versions of you, different versions of you. It's important to realize that, if you're sad, there's a sad person in control of the bus, and you don't want that sad person to cause you an accident. All right? You don't want to be swerving all over the place. You need to ask that sad person to take a back seat, tell him that he's there, and say, look, I'll drive the bus. You can talk to me about your problems while I drive the bus, but we just want to stay on the road and keep going down that path that is your life. So when you're in certain situations, realize if you're angry, frustrated, low self-esteem, stressed, anxiety, being pushed to the limits, just realize you've got those negative thoughts going on that are bringing you down, and try and take that person out of the driver's seat and put yourself back in control of your own life, and follow your instinct about which road you should be taking in life. And I can tell you some of the roads I've taken have been questionable. I ain't perfect, and even now I'm trying to find which road I'm trying to go down. And that's probably a subject of discussion which I'm going to introduce into podcasting. So I really want to start podcasting where I can talk about more information, because this channel is more for ASMR, but it's also to help people. And something that has been said by a number of people, that love is the key. So if you're walking along, you give someone a smile, you've shared a little bit of love, you say something nice to someone. If you go to a shop and someone's working, try and lighten their day a little bit. Try and tell a joke or say, I like your hair, or if it's a girl or something like that. I don't know how you compliment guys. I don't know about that. Give someone compliments, say hello to people, smile to people. If you're in a situation to help someone, help someone. It was funny, the other day I was at a car park and I saw this elderly gentleman, and I was just about to actually offer him help. He was just about to try and take his walker and put it into the boot of his car. But before I even had a chance to offer any help, he actually asked for help. And so instantly I was in a situation that I could just stop what I was doing and just give him help. And but I didn't want to overhelp the situation. So I helped put the thing into the car, into the boot of the car, but I didn't want to carry all of his groceries into the car, because that might make him feel bad that he can't do something so simple. So I would have liked to have helped him, but Aussie men can be very stupid sometimes. But, I didn't want to over-help the situation, but I was happy to help, and he actually asked for help, so I didn't, I just helped him. Help people. So I'm trying to help people here, and I'm hoping that I've given you something that might have helped. Life is not easy. We're surrounded by things that promote situations which put us in certain things. Like, for example, you get a parking fine, a speeding ticket. You should always be careful where you drive because you don't want to cause accidents. There's lots of rules and regulations to cause unhappiness. You know what I mean? There's lots of little things, like something as simple as the parking fine. You've got land regulations, air regulations, these regulations, and a lot of these things are designed for safety. But I just wonder if the whole world is over-regulated a little bit, and some of these laws and situations promote you feeling stressed or anxiety and things like that. School these days might be a little bit harder. You might have tests and exams that might put pressure on you. A little tip for studying is to write stuff down. Don't just read it. Read it and write it down. There's something about symbols and writing things down that has some form of extra benefit to remember things. I think I've waffled on for a long time. You might have to watch this in stages because it's so long. But, again, if I can help one person talking about this, then I've helped one person. So self-esteem, I guess confidence is kind of the opposite to self-esteem. So going up and talking to people, introducing yourself, is something that will build your confidence. Even for me, talking in front of the camera has increased my confidence by 1,000-fold. I have no qualms about, if I was to stick me on TV, I can sit in front of the camera and be extremely comfortable. Radio interview, I've done a few radio interviews now. I'm quite comfortable in that situation where it would be normal, where you would feel anxious, or you might start sweating, something like that. And that's something that I'm sure we've all experienced. I know I've experienced that, where I'm, for example, public speaking, and I get a little bit stressed or anxiety. But once you do it, and you did it, let's just say, okay, it doesn't have to be spectacular as long as you've done it, and you make mistakes, don't worry about mistakes, you'll learn from them. You will feel better afterwards. Your confidence will grow. So it's just a matter of those little steps, growing your confidence. Even if it's just a matter of picking up a camera and just talking about certain situations and sticking it on YouTube, you might get 2 views. It doesn't matter as long as you did it. And then if you do it again, you'll actually gain more confidence talking in front of the camera, I believe. So, the opposite to self-esteem is confidence. The opposite to negative energy is positive energy. Finding friends that you connect with will promote positive energy. Being in certain situations that are fun, going to a theme park, Disney World or whatever it is, or water slides or roller coaster rides, that promotes positive energy because it's just fun. And normally everyone in those environments have lots of positive energy because everyone's having fun. Normally you don't have road rage incidents at a theme park, as long as it's not too hot and the lines aren't too long. Yeah, I'm sure it happens, but for example, when you go to a theme park and it's not too hot and the lines are quite short, like on a weekday, everyone's really casual, no one's stressed or rushed too much. But generally, it's a positive environment. So, you got to go into those positive environments. Find some community connections, for example, learn like Spanish dancing or something like that. Guys, that's a good place to go. There's lots of girls at those places. And dancing with multiple different partners will build your confidence straight away. And it's fun. It's actually fun and enjoyable doing dancing. Find community activities that you might like and try and involve yourself in with them. And you might meet like-minded people. And, if you're lucky, you might find a friend that's special and valuable. I hope my advice has helped. Tomorrow, I'm going to play Dungeons and Dragons board game with some of my friends. And these are friends that I've known for a long time. And the guy hosting the event is someone I've known since before I can remember. When I was that young, our parents were friends, and we've been able to stay friends for a very, very, very long time. So it's something I'm looking forward to. Even though there's not going to be any real meaningful discussions, I know that if I want to talk to him about something, I can, but we're going to go have some fun and do something that's like-minded that we enjoy doing. Rolling dice, having a hack. I'm playing a dwarf. His name's Bresk, and he likes to hack things up. In his last game, he tried to stop a engagement, and he smashed a chest. And inside that chest, he smashed most of the items in that chest. He did a natural 20 and destroyed practically everything. Luckily, there was a ring in there, a ring of featherfall. And luckily, that was the one item that didn't get trashed. So I had to roll myself to make sure that didn't get trashed. And I was lucky for all of the people that play D&D. I'm going to wrap this one up. I've actually really enjoyed talking about this subject. And, even me talking about this helps me. So, again, this channel is really about helping people, making people feel calm, understanding that, calmness is something that is valuable, and that agitation of being in negative situations, around negative people, around stuff, is something that it's good to try and avoid. Sometimes you can't avoid it. Sometimes you have to speak up and try and resolve the situation. Again, if you're young and you've got parents and you're a teenager, it's very, very normal that you have rah, 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 rah. So it's important to say, I am sorry, all right? Even, all right, even if the other person did something wrong and they did something wrong, sorry I said that word again, you. Try and avoid saying that word. You say, I did something wrong. It was my fault. All right? And, say, I'm sorry, I'd like to try and resolve this and start again, build our friendship, our relationship back up. And just do that. Don't blame. Take the blame for yourself. Take a hit. You know what I mean? It's an impressive act to take a hit for someone else, and in any different way that you can. So stop the blame. Stop that revolving negativity, that cycle of crap. That spiral going down. Stop it. Try and spiral up so you feel better. It's really, really important to do this. Wow, looks like I've cracked an hour. So this was a request for someone. So for that person, you know who you are. I don't need to name you. I actually try not to name people. You know that I don't comment very often under my videos, but this isn't for you. This is for everybody. This is for everybody. So, if I can help one or two people take a step to improve their situation, and hopefully they find the pathway that suit them, that's it. Have a good night's sleep.